How's it going, everybody? Welcome here to the Everything Rider. This is the somewhat official start to my YouTube journey. I figured I'd give this thing a shot and see what happens. A little bit about the channel. Figured I'd go with the Everything Rider because so far in my riding career, I've done just about a little bit of everything when it comes to motorcycling. I haven't really pigeonholed myself into just one kind of specific, area. And so far, I've kind of enjoyed all of it. So, a little about myself. My name is Anthony, and I live in New Jersey. And I started my riding career in November of 2021 when I completed my MSF course and got my endorsement. I bought my first motorcycle in June of 2022, which is the bike I'm on now, which is a 2014 Triumph Street Triple R. And it's pretty much been awesome. It's really good at doing just about everything that I've done with it. I do some spirited sport riding. I do a lot of touring. I do some, motorcycle camping and motorcycle rallies. And my friends and I basically go on a motorcycle vacation every year. We go down to Ocean City, Maryland for their bike week, or they actually call it Bike Fest. And, so far, so good. Really haven't had too many bad experiences on a motorcycle, other than I regret not getting into it sooner. I was always interested, wanted to get into it in my 20s, and was always scared to make the jump. I know what kind of a person I was in my 20s, and I know how crazy I got with my cars, and I always figured I'd end up doing something too stupid and end up being a statistic, and I just didn't trust myself with it. But enough people in my life, they ride, and I finally gave in and I said, I have a lot of people that ride. I've always wanted to do it. I figured in my 40s, I had a little more of the maturity where I could do it, and I could still have fun, but, be responsible enough to, not do something incredibly stupid. So, here we are. So, who is this channel for? Well, the channel is open to anyone. I would appreciate anybody giving me a follow and following along in this journey and seeing where it goes. But who do I think could benefit the most from this channel? I would probably say riders that are either newer, just getting into motorcycling, or riders who maybe haven't branched off into other areas of motorcycling. Maybe you've been a sport bike rider and you've only really hit the streets and the twisties and the track, and maybe you're looking to do some moto camping, maybe you're looking to do a little bit of touring, maybe vice versa. Since I really do a little bit of everything, there might be quite a few people that could, pick up some tips and learn some things, and even if you don't, it might just be good content. We'll see. But I do ride with a local riding group. I will talk about them more in a future video. We do monthly breakfast rides, usually every month. We get together for a lot of events. We put on our 450 event, which comes up in May, which is basically a 2-day, 450-mile ride through the back roads of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. This year, we're going out to Burnt Cabins, Pennsylvania, to the Burnt Cabins Grist Mill and Campground. That I will definitely talk more about in upcoming videos as we get closer to the event. I don't want to kind of hijack this video for that. So I'll be putting a lot of content that I do with my local riding group. And other than that, just kind of documenting the misadventures of my life and my friends. My two main riding buddies right now, my buddy Chris rides a Yamaha R3, and my buddy Ron has a really nice 2013 Honda Fury. And for anybody who doesn't know what a Fury is, go ahead and check it out. If you're into that kind of chopper-style cruiser, Honda really knocked it out of the park with that bike. And everywhere we go with him, he gets compliments. Most people who don't know what the bike is, and then they realize it's a Honda, and they're kind of taken back. And other people who know what it is and they're just fans of the bike, and I'm telling you, he gets attention with that thing everywhere he goes, and it's just a cool bike. So we'll definitely be doing some stuff together. I try to do a lot of events. I do a lot of rides. My company puts on a veterans ride once a year. We do that usually in July or August, so I'll be getting some good footage of that. My local Harley-Davidson dealer always puts on a lot of events, and they're very open to, non-Harley-Davidson bikes. As a matter of fact, that's where I actually took and passed my MSF course. And I'm just, I like Harley bikes. I like, how they look and checking out all the cool things that people do. They're just not really my style personally for what I like to ride. But I do like them. I don't really hate on any bikes that are out there. But my local dealer does put on a lot of events that me and my buddies, who are also non-Harley riders, we always go to. And, despite the stigma, they're always very welcoming. All the people there are cool. We never really had anybody there kind of scoff at us or, look at us and talk to us like, what are you doing here? Why are you taking up space? Like, everybody just seems really, really cool. I do have to say that I do like the Pan America bike. That Pan America is really nice. I did get to demo one at the 120 event demo ride tour. Of course, I rode the CVO version, which is like, the highest expensive version that's all hopped up and has all the accessories. It's still a Pan America at heart. It just has a lot of the external accessories and stuff and specialized paint schemes. But it was really, really nice. And now that they've come out with the Pan America ST, I am really, really looking to get on that bike. I really want to see what that looks like and get a chance to ride it and see how the on-road improvements really work with that. But hopefully they come around for a demo tour sometime this year. I know in May, up in Lake George, New York, is the big Americade rally where they do tons of demos. I would love to get out to that event this year. I don't think it's going to be possible. I literally just found out about that event a couple of weeks ago from some of my riding club mates, and I just don't think that I have enough time or the current finances to just fund a trip out there right now, amongst everything else that I'm doing. But it is definitely an event that I would love to go to. Biggest issue that I have right now is I don't have a vehicle that I can transport the bike, other than, well, I should say I don't have a way to transport my bike other than riding it. And I've been on this bike for quite a long time, and it's very comfortable. But, the Lake George is roughly about 5 hours away. That's, a little much for this type of bike. If it was something more like a, like a cruiser bike or, one of like the GS bikes or something like that where they're just a little more comfortable, it would probably be a little easier. But I am working on getting myself a pickup, something that'll be able to, move this bike if I want to do some further away events. Honestly, I could probably ride that event. I could probably ride there. I have been on this bike for quite a long time before. I forget the actual longest amount of time I was on this bike, but so far in everything I've done, I have yet to run into like any severe leg cramps or anything like that. It's a really comfortable bike to ride, even though it's, it's a naked, but the Triumph Street Triples are just a little bit more aggressively positioned than your typical naked. So, like, if you were to compare this, sit on this bike and then go sit on like an MT-07, you are a lot more upright, you're a lot more relaxed on an MT-07, but you're certainly a lot more upright and more relaxed on this versus something like, a ZX6R or any of the sport bikes. So this is kind of like an in-between. It's still very comfortable for me. Luckily enough, I don't yet suffer from chronic back problems or any severe chronic leg problems. I do have some issues with my knees from years of being an auto tech and not using knee pads, but those issues don't really seem to prevent me from riding, long times, at least on this bike. So far, this bike has been very, very comfortable overall to ride. So I might just bite the bullet and I might just ride out to Americade if I decide to go. But we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that in future updates. So I'm really just riding around right now. I literally just got out of the gym, and this is kind of my Sunday nice weather ride. We were blessed with some nice weather this weekend. It was up in the 80s yesterday, and we're kind of chilling in the 70s right now, which is nice because it's been kind of cold this winter. And I do have gear where I can ride in colder weather, but it's of course more pleasurable to ride when it's nicer out. But this is just kind of my after gym loop on a nice day that I just kind of cruise around, just enjoy the neighborhoods. The biggest problem with my area, I live in South New Jersey, in the Camden County area, and there's just not a lot of, close roads around here that are just kind of like nice twisties, there's really no mountains in New Jersey, everything's flat. And there's some good roads not too far away. Like you can go over to PA, past Philadelphia, and there's some pretty good roads to ride. But there's just nothing local that I can just, get to in 10 minutes and, have a little fun. I'm very, very envious of some of the videos I see from, people in areas where they have gorgeous roads to ride with, really nice sweeping curves and, it's just something to be envious about. But I still try to find some roads. We're heading out tonight over to a road right around a lake that's not too far from me, and it's got a little bit of twisties, but I wouldn't really call them high-speed twisties. They're more slow-speed stuff, but the problem with that is it's just a busy area, and there's always traffic there, and so, to try to get through that area where you can kind of just blast through it and have a good time, it's almost impossible to do it because there's always traffic on that road. And I'm not one to really try to pass people in illegal situations and stuff like that. There's just way too much risk that goes far beyond, getting a ticket and whatnot. I'll do it if I absolutely have to, but only in very small, seldom situations. So, but I still like to ride the road, even if you're going through them a little bit slow, it's still a fun road to ride. And I suck up the fact that I just live in an area where, I just can't get to twisties that easily. It could always be worse. I know a lot of the guys down in Florida, most of what they post are, highway pulls and highway vids because, everything in Florida is pretty much flat and straight. It's a beautiful state, but they have kind of the same issue on a more statewide scale. If I could get up to more northern New Jersey, I know I can get up by Bear Mountain area, some of the areas in lower New York that are pretty. Whoa, debris in the road. But we'll see. I haven't had a chance to get to those areas yet. So far, I would say probably the nicest road that I got to ride on was on our 450 ride. Before I officially joined my riding group, the first time I basically found these guys, and the group's name is the New Sweden BMW Riders Club, And before anybody comes at me in the comments, no, I don't have a BMW motorcycle. No, you're not required to have one to join the club. That's just the name the club has. That's how the club started. This club's been around since the 80s, and the original founding members were all BMW motorcycle fanatics, and so they started an official BMW motorcycle club, which then in the future just kind of opened up to anybody, just because they wanted to not close themselves off to potential members. And so these guys, I found their event, I believe. Oh, okay, so there was a used bike dealer in my area in Mount Laurel. It was called Cycle Smart, and they were basically just a large bike dealer that sold nothing but used bikes. And they had a huge inventory where they had, see what I mean about the traffic? This is exactly what I was talking about. Not to get off tangent, but at any given time, they had roughly about 200 bikes in stock. And they had nice stuff. Like, it wasn't like junk. They had some rare stuff. They had some nice stuff. At one point in time, they had a, I think it was 2022, maybe, a ZX-10RR that was really nice. And they were a sponsor of the club for the event, and so that was kind of the starting point of the 2-day ride. And because we had gone to that dealer before and participated in just some of the everyday events that they would put on, I found out about this event. And that year, in 2022, on day one, we were riding up to Whispering Pines, Pennsylvania, to the Whispering Pines campground. And part of the journey up there, we got to ride up PA 125, which, people from that area, they kind of call it the PA Dragon. And rightfully so. That was an awesome road. And my only regret was that I was still very early in my riding career, to where I really probably couldn't enjoy it. I did pretty well. My friends who were more experienced than myself, they said I handled myself pretty well, all things considered, but I think I would much better handle that now. I would have a lot more fun. But that was probably the coolest road that I got to ride down myself so far. It is on my bucket list to do Tail of the Dragon. I just have the same problem with that, where it's like, that's about 600 and so miles away from me, and that is a very long trip on my type of bike. So once I successfully get a vehicle where I can transport the bike, or even pull a trailer and transport a couple bikes, I will definitely be planning a trip down to Tennessee to go hit Tail of the Dragon, because that is one of the birds that I really want to go after. And so, so that first year in 2023, is when I found the riding group that I'm a part of. And then we did that same ride in 24. Last year we went to the Inn at Starlight Lake in Starlight, PA. And that was really cool. The ride was better. We had better weather on day one compared to the 2023 ride, but the roads that we took were not as nice as the first year. Yeah, that was the other problem with the first year. We got rained on 3/4 of the whole first day. Not heavy torrential downpours, but it was just like very steady rain for the whole first day. Luckily, the rain did clear up.
Look at the size of that goose.
When we hit PA 125, so we were able to enjoy that road. But that was a brutal first day. That really broke us in. I certainly had never ridden through anything like that before, and really neither have my riding mates. But we did pretty good. There were no accidents. We really didn't get that way. I mean, I had proper rain gear, so did everybody else. Really, the worst thing that happened was my buddy was rocking a backpack that had his clothing in it, and his backpack was not waterproof, and he didn't have a rain cover for it, and it got soaked. So all his clothing for the next day was just soaked. luckily that year, because we didn't have any gear or we weren't prepared, we didn't camp. So we stayed at a motel. I don't know if it was a Super 8 or something like that. It was about 20 miles, well, maybe not 20 miles, 20 minutes away from the campground that they were staying at. And so they allowed us to use their commercial dryer to dry off anything that we had that was wet. So we were very appreciative of that. It kind of saved the day. But all in all, despite the amount of rain that we had, we really did not get that wet. With the gear that we had. Obviously it's not as optimal as, not riding in rain, but what are you going to do? That was a ride that couldn't be rescheduled. So it's not like we could have chose to do it another day. That was the day of the event. So, we already had motels booked and everything like that. So, but yeah. So this year we're going back to, well, they say back to Burnt Cabins, PA. They went there before. I was a part of the group, so I have never been there. This will be my first go around there. So it should be a fun day. We'll see. The next event that we have coming up is next month on April 5th. We're doing a breakfast ride down to a local restaurant down in... God, these people, I swear, people are so confused and have no idea what to do. And they panic. And it's like, I'm a very principle-based driver. What I mean by that is, if I have the right of way, I'm going. If you have the right of way, I'm going to let you go every time. I'm never going to try to cut you off or jump in front of you. But if I have the right of way, I'm not going to let you take that from me. Now, obviously on a motorcycle, I have to calm that down a little bit because, I'm not going to fight a 4,000-pound vehicle on a bike. But if everybody would just drive in a principle-based manner, there really wouldn't be a lot of issues when it comes to on-road stuff, because in every situation, there's always one clear vehicle that has the right of way and one that doesn't. And problems arise when people either don't know who has the right of way or they don't care who has the right of way, because then they're trying to cut people off or get in front of people. And it's like, look, if you have the right of way, go. That's the biggest thing that I hate, is when I know somebody has the right of way and they're trying to flag me to go. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. You're going to go. Because God forbid I go and then something happens and we end up in a little fender bender, they're going to hit me with the fault because you've got the right of way. And it's not going to make a difference if you flagged me to go. You were the one that was supposed to go. So, sorry, that was just a little bit of a rant. But, stuff like that just kind of gets to me a little bit, because I don't find, driving to be very difficult. It's, doing certain things at an extremely high level of skill, sure, that takes a lot of work and a lot of practice, but just driving, right? Just operating a motor vehicle on public roads in normal traffic is, in my opinion, not difficult. Like a normal passenger vehicle, not like a commercial vehicle, not like a race car. We're talking like a normal passenger vehicle. And I just have to shake my head at people who just don't even possess the most basic level of skill to operate a vehicle just competently. It scratches my head, like, how have you survived this long driving a vehicle? It just boggles my mind. Anyhow, this is the official start of my YouTube channel. We'll see if you guys have any suggestions or anything you'd like me to cover or anything you want to know. Feel free to comment below. I'll try to put as much varied content up as I can think of and I have time to make. I do not do this full time, obviously. I work full time and I do a lot in my personal life, so I'm going to hopefully try to start out posting at least one video a week, more if I'm able to. I will try to document any events that I go to, any, bike meets, car meets. Like I said, I usually try to get out to as much as I can. I have put a lot of time in the saddle in the short time that I've been riding, probably more so than most people who have been riding more than double as long as me. Just to give you an idea, when I purchased this motorcycle in June of 2022, it had between 18 and 1900 miles on it. I bought it from the original owner, who bought it new in 2014, and he just never really rode it a lot. He just did not have time. He was an older gentleman, and the thing was pristine when I got it. He took really good care of it. And today, currently, I have over 20,000 miles on this bike. I have about 20,500 and change, or give or take. So I have put about 18,000 and change miles in the saddle on this bike since I've owned it, since June of 2022, which is a lot more than most people. So I do tend to do a lot of things with my bike, and I try to do as much as possible. So hopefully I can bring you guys some good, interesting content, something that you guys will get some value out of. But at this point in time, I'm really just doing it for fun. I'm not trying to be the next Yami New or the next big thing out there. I'm just going to document my life progress through motorcycling and have the same amount of fun that I've had before. The only difference is now I have a camera and a microphone, so I get to take you guys along for the ride also. Other than that, that's all I can really ask for. So, appreciate you guys following along if you choose to, and who knows where this will go. So, I think for this one, I'm going to cut it off there. I don't want to really ramble on too much. I'll have a tendency to do that. So, look for future videos where I can get a little bit more in depth about, some of the detailed stuff I do, some of the gear that I use, some of the places I go, some more info about my riding group. I'll eventually do all that. If there's, and again, like I said, if there's anything that you guys specifically would want to know, or if there's anybody out there, from the New Jersey area who wants to follow along, give me a shout out, let me know, and, I'll make some content. So, thanks for taking the time to listen, and we'll see you again. Bye, guys.